Hello guys, welcome back on to another story, another chapter actually. That's chapter 1 of A Love Unbound. So yeah, that's that. Welcome and sit and listen. Chapter 1 of A Love Unbound. This a love confirmed by feelings, a beautiful love shared by two people, a love unchanged, an eternal love. Then there's a love that goes deep beyond what any human being can ever fathom. It's a misery in its own way, and yet it's a love unbound. Luna Gabrielle George, or Luna Gabrielle Asim. Asim is her husband's last name. That's what she uses now, so we'll take it. Luna Gabriela Sim stared down at a photo frame that was next to a much smaller one. The smaller one, the smaller one had three people. The smaller one had three people. She had a light brown complexion, brown eyes, long black and grey braids, was in a white top, black leather jacket, and the same color ragged trouser, and white old school Vans, the same with the little light brown boy next to her, who had black shorts and plain white t-shirt. He had his dark curly hair short. His eye color was black, just like his father, the man who stood next to him, holding his hand. In a brown t-shirt, white trousers, and classy brown shoes, he wore the same smile he always had, the genuine smile, the genuine kind of smile that you would admire forever. He was just a little taller than her, had a lighter skin, just like his parents. He had taken everything they had, black eyes, curly, dark hair, and their personality. They were the reason she had a home, a place to go and have family dinner on Sundays, and she knew that wholeheartedly that she would spend the rest of her life appreciating them for that. At the corner of her eye, she caught sight of the other photo. It had her in it too. She stood next to her younger sister, the complete version of her, the last born in the family, Liana Grace. Although she was dark brown like their dad, the not-so-huge man in a black suit who stood next to their mom, the one she had taken everything from, eye color, athletic body, complexion, literally everything, even the height, and yet they both turned out to be completely different. Luna stifled a laugh, and then she smiled, seeing the last person in the photo, her brother. He was brown unlike everyone, but had their father's body. In a brown suit because you weren't a man in the George household if you didn't have a suit on. But to her, Noah Rain was her hero, the one she would risk it all for, her reason for being where she was. Listen, Gabi, if you ever get a chance to run. Don't look back, he said to her once. She had just laughed, then stopped, seeing that indeed he wasn't joking. But where would I go? She had asked him. Anywhere as long as you'll be out of this house, he had answered. That was when she had just turned 14. He was visiting her not with the knowledge of their parents. He had moved out earlier that month, and now she knew why. She understood what his statement meant. Why she had done exactly what he had asked her when he was 18. Why she had done exactly what he had asked her when she was 18, right after taking a national ID card. I sometimes still wonder if we were the ones on the wrong, or if it was just actually them. Luna lifts her head up to the voice she would recognize anywhere. He smiled at her, and she smiled back. Rather than being in the suits he grew up wearing, he was in a blue faded jeans and a black t-shirt. I'm pretty sure it was them, she heard herself say. But the thing is, she was being honest, more than she had ever been. She loved her parents. She would always, but they made it clear to her 8 years prior that as long as she had the life she had chosen, she wasn't welcomed in their house. They had revoked her rights as their daughter, the same way they had with Noah, the first one to ever break the rules. Noah wanted to be a lawyer like them, but not a private lawyer, and not work in their law firm. He wanted to stand for those who couldn't afford to have lawyers, for the oppressed, and their parents couldn't handle that. With the way they had been treated while growing up, the rules at their home, the punishments, Noah chose to leave. She had only turned 13 and he was all done with high school. Had nothing in his name but his documents, no job, no relative he could move in with, because they all lived in Colombia, where her, Liana, and Noah had been born, and later on settled in Nairobi, Kenya. But their parents thought he would go back, begged them to take him back in, and years later, now a stepfather to Joy, who was just 3 years older than her son, she knew he didn't have any regrets, that he was content with the choice he had taken, that he was much happier and at peace. Why do you still keep it? She heard Noah ask. He was already sitting comfortably in a chair that was close to her office table. The photo? Yeah, it was taken almost 12 years ago, he said to her. There was something in his voice that she wanted to pinpoint, but she couldn't. But she did guess. It was because when the photo had been taken, they were one big happy family. They had 2 very strict but loving parents. They had each other as siblings. They had Liana to take care of, the then 5-year-old, but all that scattered with the continuous suffering because of simple mistakes. We were just from church. He finished the sentence for her, and she flinched just a little. The word church always reminded her of God. Everything she had done to distance herself from him for 10 good years. You don't miss going there, do you? I'm good, she answered simply. Anyway, why are you here? Right. I wanted to take you out for lunch. It's 4:10 p.m. She laughed. I know. He laughed too. Make time tomorrow, just don't show up past the time intended for lunch, she said to him. Promise. You keep checking your phone. Is something wrong? Sal should have picked up Ian from school, she sighed. And I'm sure that he's late, she explained. Why? Because he should have called me like half an hour ago to tell me that he was at school already, and he hasn't, she replied. He's calling. Maybe he did pick him up, she whispered as she answered the call and held the phone close to her ear. Hey babe. Hey, did you pick AJ? That's short for Ian Jude. From school? Something came up and I'm still in the office. Sal, you are literally calling to tell me that he's still in school, she stood up. Right now. Lou, come on. I had things to do. Things that were more important than picking our son from school. That's not what I'll see you at home if you'll be early, that is, she said angrily and cut off his call, not waiting for an explanation. Everything okay? Noah asked. I guess being an accountant is much more important these days than picking children from school, she said, picking her car keys from the table. Hey Gabby, what's wrong? Noah walked to her. All national banks are supposed to be closed by 5:30 p.m. the latest. Sal hasn't picked AJ from school for the last 2 days on time. Yesterday, he came home past 10, like he's been doing this week. That's unlike him, Noah exclaimed. Exactly. You can tell me if things are not normal at home, okay? Okay, I'll call you. She watched him open the door for her. Bye. He embraced her. Drive safe. He let go. I'll do drive safe. Not when you are under pressure, Noah answered her as he checked his phone. I'll be fine. Thanks for worrying, she reassured him while they walked out. But the truth is, she wasn't entirely being honest. She was under pressure. She was conflicted. She didn't know what to do. Sal never wanted their son to ever be carried by a school bus to and from school, claiming that they weren't safe. So when AJ started primary 1 and now in the second grade at age 6, they both took turns picking him from school. But because the banks where he worked was just 5 minutes away to the school where AJ went, Sal usually picked him and picked him up. But of late, he was claiming to be stuck at work, and she would be forced to go and get him herself. And so she wondered, was there something else going on? Was their marriage crumbling? Already, or was it all too much? Because as far as she knew, he wasn't at work. She had asked his assistant the very first day he was late to work to get home. So yeah, that's all for today's chapter. Thank you. If you've already gone through this video and listen to that chapter, thank you, and thanks again. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and ask questions if that's okay. So yeah, till next week, stay safe and don't forget to share. Bye.